Hello everyone and welcome back to Heaven's Secret 2, episode 5. The punishment I endured was like a tongue of flame. It pleasantly licked the skin before burning and leaving its mark. Like I said, last episode was chaotic, to say the least. We were sent to, let's just say, make people sick. And Dino literally was sent to kill people, to be tested. He said that. Dino said that Plague wanted to test him. That's why his touch would be lethal. And mine and Lilu's touch would make them all get some sort of plague or sickness, and only the strongest would survive. We couldn't take it anymore, so we tried to leave, tried to escape the situation, and MALBONTE turned up and shoved us into Lucifer's room so that we could receive the punishment. I'm not having it. Honestly, I wanted him to punish me and not Lucifer, but that's fine. And let's just see. Okay. Some devices can suppress the abilities of immortals, making them similar to ordinary people. I know I'm impulsive. I act first without thinking. Same. But without thinking comes doubt, and I don't want to doubt. Many might disagree with me, but you haven't been in my place. You haven't seen so many deaths, and you haven't died yourself. That's why I'll choose my own path, without looking back, without regrets. I'm ready to lay down my life without hesitation for those I care about, and for what I believe in. Ooh. Now that's something I agree with, yes. What the fuck is this? What is going on? I literally thought I was in the wrong story or something. Episode 5, The Punishment. Of course, we only deserve... The episodes include the position of physical and psychological abuse. Continue at your own discretion. Okay. I had to endure psychological trauma, but I managed to get out. So perhaps this will trigger some sort of reaction out of me, but I don't think it will be that chaotic. I will be fine, so I'm gonna continue reading. Lucifer latched the door, slowly walked past me, and opening a drawer on the nightstand by the bed, began to look for something. Are you really going to punish me? Seriously? Without looking at me, he answered, Why not? Is this man for real? Is this bitch for real? Is this your way of punishing me for staying alive while you died? That's funny. Because I managed to reach new heights while you were consumed by non-existence? No, that's all irrelevant now. Lucifer took out a pair of handcuffs from the drawer, roughly lifted me by the hand, and threw me on the floor near the bed. You bastard. That's funny. He squatted down in front of me, twisted my hands behind my back, and cuffed them to the leg of the bed. I tried to escape the best I could, but it was hopeless. Where did you get these handcuffs? The metal snapped shut around my wrists. You better have not known. Do I really want to know what you did before I arrived in heaven, sir? He probably used that with his chicks. We know. Lucifer rose, looming over me. I tensely waited for what would follow. He was my father's killer, the servant of the horsewoman, a demon I no longer knew. He might do anything to me, but to my surprise, Lucifer turned on his heel and went to the desk, which held a pile of books. He opened one of them and began to read. I looked at him like a haunted wolf cub, watching his movements from under my brows. I noticed him frowning or smiling at different lines. I followed his long, rough fingers as they definitely turned pages. So he only handcuffed us to the bed. And that was supposed to cause some psychological trauma inside of us. Okay. I kept waiting for him to speak up, to set his book aside and rush at me, hurling insults or something worse, but he didn't. He didn't do anything. He just sat there and read. Maybe I should do something. Stay silent and don't look for trouble. I'm gonna talk to him. I don't give a fuck. Is this your punishment? I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. You know, sometimes I should just shut up because she literally is as direct as me. Literally, I don't like something. Is this your punishment? That was literally my reaction. That's the punishment. Would you like something else? I didn't say that. Lucifer sighed impatiently. Don't interrupt my reading. Are you kidding me? The reaction same. Someone knocked on the door quietly and hastily, as if that someone was flirting or joking. Lucifer reluctantly got up and opened the door. Asti stepped into the room with an air of authority. Ooh. Huh? After the war, she spent a short time in heaven and then returned to hell to her father. I haven't seen her in years. I wonder if she still doesn't like me. Asti took a few steps before she noticed me. What is she doing here? The young client belongs to me now, remember? Woo! And what does she have to spend? And what? What is this? What does she have to spend the night in your room now? Okay, that was my mistake. I read it wrong. And what? Does she have to spend the night in your room now? I'm right here. Ignoring my words, Lucifer replied. She tried to escape, and now she must be punished. He looked at Asti as if remembering something. His gaze was tired and irritated. Why are you here? MALBONTE couldn't let you on. Wouldn't let you on his couch. What? Oh my god, but that facial expression from Lucifer, let's go. Okay, Asti, another expression. But girl, MALBONTE is mine. MALBONTE is mine. Shut up. She walked over and yanked on my handcuffs. I'm sorry. The cold metal dug into my skin. Take it easy. Shut up. Maybe I should punish her. Oh! Lucifer approached her and grabbed her wrist, keeping her from making any sudden movements. I'll ask again, Asti. Why did you come? Lucifer is so not having this. But like I said it in the last few episodes, he doesn't want us to get hurt. He literally is willing to do anything. That's so cute. Okay. She lowered her hands in defeat and stepped aside. I want to talk in private, without her. She moved closer, familiarly put her hands on his chest and straightened his clothes. Can I leave? Do I have to look at this? Do I have to see this? We have things to discuss. Do we now? Not now. If not now, then when? She could kill us at any moment. Asti noticed that I was carefully studying her face. She immediately turned away, angrily wiped her tears, and said, looking over her shoulder, What are you staring at? Girl, I'm literally sitting here. Am I supposed to just close my eyes or something? Play with my fingers? Oh, wait, I can't. I'm handcuffed. I calmly, almost affectionately said, We're not enemies anymore, Asti. Why are you acting like this? We aren't enemies, but we've fallen into the place we belong. Blake restored my father's title of throne. Your mother won't be able to take away what's rightfully his. Why are you crying then? Woo! Asti bared her teeth like a wild animal and turned away again. Asti, go to MALBONTE. No! No! MALBONTE's mine! He's mine! He tried to escort her to the door, but she shoved his hands away unsteadily. To that unfeeling machine. Woo! Let's go. He despises me. Yes! Very good, MALBONTE. You're earning brownie points. But the way she said it to that unemotional machine, that was funny. That was funny. Asti looked at me. He despises us all, but he also joined her. He bent his knee too. Lucifer shook Asti in an attempt to bring her back to her senses. calm down. Lucifer's so fine, too. So fine. He opened the door and stood there, his stance making it clear that she had to leave his room. Go away, Osti. We'll talk later. She immediately went out into the hallway, then said, Enjoy your toy. I hope you get your file before we all die. I'm used to Lucifer. I'm used to it. Lucifer slammed the door. Damn. For a moment her eyes met. She's afraid, and I understand her. He sat on the edge of the bed, never breaking eye contact. I cautiously moved away, and he noticed it. He's still a mystery to me. What if death changed him? What if it changed everyone? If father was brought back too? Lucifer's eyes flared scarlet for a moment, but the flame dimmed and faded. So what? Aren't you happy about that? You don't seem too concerned about your mother either. Well, I mean, she's a bitch, so I don't really have to be concerned about her. Considering what she put us through. I have a complicated relationship with her. Same for me. Complicated relationship? You mean complicated that you love your father and he despises you? And that's what pains you? That's what The next choice can improve both your friendship and romantic relationship. Maybe I should get him to talk. Remain stubbornly silent, get to know him better. Honestly, this is not only a love choice, but also a friendship choice. So I'm gonna pick the choice to get to know him better. And if he's not my lover, I want to have him as a close friend. I love Lucifer. So I want to be there with him. Maybe I can figure out why he joined Plague. Was your father cruel to you? Lucifer jumped up, looming over me again with a bitter grin on his lips. Okay, that's a question you should never ever ask. But, I mean, in order to get to know him, you have to dig deep. Or are you going to feign sympathy so you can get inside my head? How the fuck am I supposed to get into your head? That capability was ripped away from me last episode. Maybe I want to know what's on your mind, but that doesn't mean I don't sympathize with you. I don't need your pity. I don't pity. That's one thing you all should know about me. I don't pity. I sympathize. I don't feel sorry for you that you killed my father. If you didn't live in hell, I'd want you to burn there. He chuckled. Don't worry, I've burned there. People actually. Him saying I've burned there enough. We remember the last episode when Fencio asked Lucifer to help him. And with one snap of his fingers, he lit up a torch. So is it possible that he actually means this in a literal sense? That his father burned him in hell? Multiple times. Like he actually abused him physically and psychologically through that. Because he kept on giving his best to get the affection and the love from his father, but he never got it. And that took a toll on his mental health. And since he still got beat up, it left a physical and psychological scar. If that's it, I feel bad. Apparently not. Ooh! Girl! You never learn to keep your mouth shut. You're in my power. But you don't even try to be careful. I'm being careful. I want to get to know my captor better. I want to know about Satan who has returned. You want to know about Satan? I don't want to know about Satan. I want to know about Lucifer. He sighed, looked thoughtfully out the window, and suddenly began to speak in a detached, unemotional voice as if trying to forget who he was talking to. I don't know what you're expecting to hear. A maudlin story, or the key to his destruction. My father is a pawn, like all of us. No. I want to know what you're going through. I want to know what you're feeling. I want you to stop suffering. I want to help you heal. Please let me be there for you, Lucifer, please. And it's eating him from the inside. It offends him. If it offends him so much, then why bow the knee? Apparently that thought brought real satisfaction to Lucifer, if he actually heard him in the past, and of course. He doesn't like to obey, but he loves obedience. I mean, yeah. Since childhood, I've been a disappointment to him. Damn! Too weak. Too stupid. Too soft. So he actually burned him. If you guys would actually know what I would give to could hug this man. Every time the occlutus came to me to tell me that my father was waiting for me, everything inside me shriveled up with fear and hatred for him. I dreamed of his death. When I went to him, I could see the disdain in his eyes. When your own father looks at you with disdain. Yikes. And then he would always tell me about yet another dissatisfaction that he had to endure because of me. The servants reported that you found a dying bat. That's right, father. Oh, how cute. Garrus said he witnessed it. Yes. That facial expression. Garrus said he advised you to kill the poor creature, but you couldn't. His lip twitched with contempt. He said you were crying. Crying because you're too weak to kill, right? I didn't want to. Oh, Lucifer. Son of Satan, inhabitant of hell, you are a disgrace to all kind. Let me just murder you again, Satan. Let me murder you again. Your sensitivity came from your mother. Then why the fuck did you get her pregnant, you... His entire manner made it clear that this trait repulsed him. But he loved my mother. Ha! So why? Why was I despised for it? He stood up from his throne and descended one step, then another. As he slowly walked towards me, his armor clattered softly. It was like he was in battle every day. We exist as world to do evil for the greater good. I'll show you what happens when a demon pretends to be someone he shouldn't be. Burning pain shot through my chest. The fiery agony grew like flames sucking in air. I screamed and cried, rolling at his feet as if that could put out the fire that was devouring me. And father stood and watched like stupefied mortals frozen in front of the TV, his face devoid of emotion. For him, I was a tool, an experiment, anything but a son. People, are we even hearing this? Like, do we even understand the situation right now? I would want him to stay away. But honestly, like, I understand why Lucifer said it's a complicated situation. Because it's still his father. And you have some sort of connection with your parents. Since we don't know much about the mother, but apparently I would say she died. And Lucifer only knew his father, so he tried to get the affection and attention from both of his parents from his father. And his father is not having it. And he's only causing Lucifer psychological and physical pain. But Lucifer is not like that. He doesn't only have traits from his father, he also has traits from his mother. And it has nothing to do with sensitivity. It has to do with having a pure heart. Lucifer has a pure heart. He can't hurt someone that doesn't deserve it. Let's just say it like that. He can kill because he had to do so, but that doesn't mean that every single kill doesn't hurt him. He can kill. He's not a person that likes to kill like his father. When I got a little older, he began to beat me with the same indifference, studying gaze, watching how quickly I managed to heal my wounds. His father is sick. Lucifer turned to me with a fierce, ruthless expression. You asked if my father was cruel to me? Yes, but his real cruelty lay elsewhere. Now he has no power over me, but just as you passed from Plague's hands to mine, his power over me was replaced by another's. Now Plague has her hand over you, right? And until I'm the master of my own destiny, until I'm free, I cannot hold the position of Satan. So let Father live out his life, because the time will come when I'll kill him. The one who holds your life in their hands is that Plague. Yeah! You don't have to say it. Like, it shifted to another one. He literally does what she wants without showing any sort of emotion. Literally like a good little pet, a good little soldier. And she's happy with that. Lucifer nodded slowly, like everyone else. Are you driven by hatred of your father? It's despair that drives me, which means He gritted his teeth. You're powerless against plague. I hope you're satisfied with my story. No, I'm not satisfied. Actually, I'm broken. Lucifer has opened up to you. Yeah, because I paid. Some people, I'm so sorry. I have to make these ironic remarks. That doesn't mean I've forgiven you. I don't need that. It'll be better if there's hatred between us and nothing else. He doesn't want to let anyone in. I suppose because of what happened with his father, he fears that if he lets someone in, he's gonna hurt like he hurt with his father. But I can tell you already, Lucifer, that it's not gonna work. As much as you try to tell yourself that you don't give a damn, you care. I can tell because I'm the same. As much as I say I don't care, I care. And that's why I keep on getting hurt. It just hurts less when you say and keep on repeating to yourself that you don't. But you care. You care about us. That's why you didn't want us to be in Plague's hands. He returned to the desk, opened his book, and continued to read. I twirled my hand, trying to relieve the numbness. Lucifer didn't look at me, and I was able to think calmly and watch him. He volunteered to be my master, and yet there had been no undue rage in his actions, no violence. The closer Plague was, the sharper his knives were, and the more accurately they struck their mark, with the intent of hurting me. Lucifer was immersed in his book. He kept reading, and eventually I fell asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night in bed, covered with a blanket. Lucifer! Lucifer! The handcuffs were gone. My wrists were clean without a single scratch. Did everything heal that fast? I pulled the blanket aside and looked at my leg. The shackles suppressing my powers were no longer there. I looked around sleepily and saw a figure standing by the window. Lucifer gazed at the horizon thoughtfully. You freed me. He turned around sharply. For a moment his face reflected a desperate longing drenched in endless bitterness. But he hid it away behind a smug grin. People, I feel so bad for Lucifer. And I don't feel pity. Literally, I sympathize with this man. I feel so bad. Like this man has so much unsolved trauma inside of him. Actually, the thing he needs is someone around him that will always tell him that he will never ever be alone, and that there will always be someone that will love him. That's what he needs. He needs to know that someone cares about him. I'm gonna be that person, Lucifer. Don't worry. I'm gonna be there for you. No, I took it off for the night to let your body recover. Plague forbid it. Once, she won't know. But since you're awake... Lucifer took the shackles and sitting on the bed near my feet, extended his hand expectantly. I need your leg. I instinctively hid it under the covers. Don't make me hurt you. He threw back the covers, grabbed my ankle, and pulled me towards him. Hey! Can you be gentler? That's a romantic choice since it's 72. Jim's like, damn. I'll do it myself. I jerked my leg away, snatched the shackle, and snapped it around my ankle. Satisfied? You're ungrateful. She is. Because he literally is putting himself in danger doing that. He stood and went back to the window. I didn't ask you for this. I don't want to owe anything to you. I turned away and covered my head with the blanket. Lucifer said something, but I couldn't hear the words. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep again. I was awakened by someone's voice. I opened my eyes and watched Lucifer speak to the acolyte for a while. Then he closed the door, turned to me, paused for a moment, and said, Are you up? He looks so good. Lucifer threw some clothes, which he apparently just received in me. Get ready. Where are we going? Plague is waiting for us. I tried to hide the horror that gripped me. I laid out the clothes in front of me and ran my hand over the silk. Where did these come from? I asked them to bring it for you. Get dressed, we don't have time. He spoke coldly, even rudely, and with an impatience I didn't understand. Maybe he knew what was waiting for us. How long are you going to just stand there? Look away. Lucifer hesitated before turning his back to me. I hastily changed my clothes. That's a nice outfit, but this literally looks like we're going to the Grammys. Stop with this one. Oh my god. What is this? And now, just a second, stop with this one. I'm ready. No, you're not. Yes. I love this outfit so much. I'm ready. Lucifer, without looking at me, opened the door and gestured to get out. We were silent all the way, and this only amplified the despondency and nervousness I felt over our inevitable meeting with the horsewoman. What is this? Plague sat on her throne as usual, but what surprised me was Kira sitting in her arms. The girl didn't look scared. She calmly watched as Lucifer and I approached. Mistress. Lucifer bowed, forcibly pulling me along with him. Plague looked at him with a displeasure that resembled disappointment. I'm waiting for someone. I don't have time for you. We'll come as soon as you call us. Lucifer grabbed my wrist, about to leave, but Plague's voice made him stop. I felt him tense up. No, stay. I want to see this. I want you to see this. The doors opened. Fencio slowly walked into the hall, almost seeming to float. Behind him, Mimi's mother took long strides. What? Mimi's mother? We'd only seen each other a few times. She was constantly away. A thin cigarette smoldered in her fingers as usual. Release my daughter. Now! She folded her arms across her chest, one leg angled to her side, as if it were a casual conversation. Her stance was provocative, daring, and relaxed at the same time. Blake smiled, but I saw how her eyes flashed with displeasure. I can't. Eliza shook the ashes on the floor and stared thoughtfully at the cigarette. When she spoke, her voice was menacingly calm. I came here, horsewoman, to your territory, into your rotten mouth. Ooh! I came without my husband, without saying a word to anyone about where I was going. You can see the despair in my actions, I know it. Her pupils turned red, but only for a moment. Let my daughter go. Woo! Yes, Eliza. Plague giggled and slowly turned to her wrist, empathizing her restraint. The demon Mammon refused to help me, but he was once great. He has the power to plunge people into the abyss, but he escaped and is now hiding somewhere. You ran away too. I needed to take it out on someone. And so you've come here, Eliza, descendant of Elzida, asking me to give up your daughter. Where were you before? I'm not going to justify myself to you. Woohoo! If you don't want to justify yourself to me, then do it for your own daughter. Eliza's confidence faltered for the first time. She turned around in fear. What is going on here? Mimi was standing at the door. The acclimatized brought her to play. I'm sorry? Baby. Mimi didn't even look at her mother. Seeing her daughter, Eliza lost her composure. We didn't have a way to save you. We wanted to find one. We wanted to be careful. Mimi looked straight ahead. Tears welled up in her eyes, ready to roll down her cheeks. Yeah, they literally left her there. So, did you find a way? Shut your trap! Blake burst out laughing. At least you tried. Now you can die. No, Mimi. I'm sorry, people. Plague's minions that stood along the walls rushed at Eliza. She furiously fought off their attacks and, having snapped the neck of her last opponent, took out a new cigarette. Damn! Breathing heavily, she lit it and blew the smoke right at Plague. Damn! Without dissipating, it reached her face. Your charms don't work on me. I know. Ooh! But I like how hard you fought. Mimi stood very close to Plague and yet steadfastly held herself upright. I wanted to Hug and caress her, support her. I want to hug and caress her. I want her to know that I'm here. I wanted to stroke her hair, kiss her on the forehead, and whisper that everything would be fine. You're worried about Mimi? Of course I'm worried about Mimi. She's my best friend. She's my honey. She's my baby. I want her to be okay. It was unbearable for me to see Mimi suffer, and Plague felt it. She grabbed her by the neck and pulled her closer. I'm sorry. Kira jumped up from the horsewoman's lap and backed away frightened. Mimi. Lucifer pushed down on my shoulder, so forcefully that I collapsed, my knees striking the floor painfully. Shut up. See how they worry about you. Who do you think is in more pain? You or them as they watch you suffer. I'm not afraid of you, Mimi. There's no need to be afraid. She forcibly opened Mimi's mouth open and exhaled down her throat. Disgusting! Mimi's body shuddered and convulsed. I'm sorry? She shook and rolled on the floor, unable even to scream. Let her go. Oh, I was crying. Lucifer tightened his grip on my shoulder. Shut up. Mimi's face turned blue. It looked like she couldn't breathe. Her fingers contorted and spasmed as she tried to claw away the invisible rope wrapped around her throat. And powerless tears slid over her temples. Eliza fell to her knees. I'll do anything you ask. Just leave her alone. Remove her shackles and let her go. Free my daughter. Oh, she's crying. She better be crying. Plague's lips quirked in a smile. Bring Mammon here, or your daughter will die. She looked bored with Mimi's continuing agony. She will die a slow death. Eliza's lips trembled. She loved her husband no less than her daughter. I'll bring him. Just free her. I'll remove her shackles, but she'll stay at the school. Mimi in exchange for Mammon. Okay. Plague slowly and mockingly approached Mimi, opened her lips again, and inhaled the poisonous cloud. Then she released her from the shackles with their characteristic click. Mimi immediately seemed to relax, but she remained unconscious. Eliza clung to her daughter and cradled her head in her lap. She was no longer crying, but her wild fear for Mimi was etched on her face. I watched them with my eyes wide open. Mimi had suffered because Eliza loved her. That was what Plague did to everyone. Plague rose from her throne and approached them. She leaned over and looked down at them like small insects crossing her path. Go and get Mammon. Eliza gently removed Mimi's head from her lap, stood up, and took out another cigarette. Me. Not even a trace of despair remained on her face. From now on you won't touch Mimi or the deal is off. Eliza turned and headed for the exit. As she neared us, she stopped abruptly, looked into my eyes for a few seconds, and then continued on. Mimi needs to be taken to the infirmary. No. Shut up, Lucifer! Lucifer grabbed my elbow and took me to the center of the hall. Oh yeah, you're still here. Did you enjoy the show? Little bitch. Plague returned to her throne and beaconed Kira with her finger. I'm tired. Plague turned to her annoyed. You dare talk to me. Sorry, mistress. The horsewoman sighed and waved her hand. You can go. Why is she being so nice to Kira? The doors opened again, and the woman I'd met earlier entered the hall. She carried drinks on a tray, the glasses clinking as she moved. Dinner right on time. My throat is dry from these endless conversations. My pleasure, mistress. Plague slowly took a drink and turned to Lucifer. Did you punish the unclaimed for not doing her job properly? Yes, mistress. And how? I handcuffed her. That's so funny, people. And that's all. The worst punishment for the unclaimed is to ignore her. She spent a lot of time in the dungeon. She feels lonely and lost, and I wanted to remind her of that. The deepest despair comes gradually. Plague's displeasure subsided, but her doubts were visible. That's not enough. I expected more sophistication from you. I want Simona to suffer, otherwise I'll give her to someone else. I understand, mistress. Do you? I don't think so. If you had, you would have done what I wanted you to do with her. But I'll show you an example. Plague squeezed the throne's arms, and instant later she was in front of us. She grabbed Lucifer by the throat and threw him across the hall. Nice. Now he's getting beat up by her. I fucking hate this. Like, he's literally trapped in a devil's circle. He hit the wall and fell to the floor in a shower of plaster. So your father beat you up. People! So your father beat you up. I looked into his head. He despised you. Plague hit him again, and Lucifer didn't even try to defend himself. It reminds him of his father, like I fucking hated. What kind of Satan could come out of you? Your father was right. I fucking hate her. I stood with my hands pressed to my mouth. Plague didn't stop talking for even a moment. She beat him and whispered something in his ear, and her words crushed Lucifer more than her fists. Exactly! He cares! That's the problem. When he couldn't get up, she turned to me. Now it's your turn, little bird. Huh? I caught Tina looking at me. She must have been thinking about how glad she was that she wasn't in danger. I had to brace myself for the impending pain. You didn't help Tina earlier, so she didn't help you. I helped her. Surprisingly, I didn't feel anything, neither fear nor hope. When Plague's power crashed down on me like an avalanche of pain, I only screamed softly. I felt her breaking into my consciousness and destroying my dear memories of my father. I tried not to cling to them. It was even more painful when the scenes from the past crumbled between my clenched fingers. But the longer she dug through my head, the harder it was to hold back the scream. I gave up, and a short but sorrowful cry escaped my throat. And then it all stopped. I wiped away my tears and stared at the floor, trying to look Plague in the eyes. I think that's enough for now. Lucifer staggered to his feet, straightened his clothes, and leaning against the wall, wearily said, I understand, mistress. Let me make amends. Can I take her to the dungeon? And what are you going to do with her? Just leave her there? I can assure you, she will suffer. You can feed on her desperation. Fancy had silently stood nearby, like a shadow the whole time, but he suddenly raised his voice. I will oversee the effort, mistress. Well, go ahead. Fancio gestured for me to follow him and Lucifer. This is too much. How much can I take? No, I won't go back to the dungeon. But I didn't have a voice in the matter. Noticing my hesitation, Lucifer moved closer to force me to go with them. Over my dead body. I'll go on my own. At this point, I'll go on my own. Okay. He let me walk ahead and followed me. At this point in time, like, what's there to argue? The tower. We walked past the students looking at us, entered the tower, and ascended to the highest floor. I stopped in front of the heavy bars, trembling all over, panicked by the mere thought of being in the dark again, alone. Fancy opened the iron cage, and Lucifer roughly pushed me inside. A chair was positioned in the middle of the cell. It had straps and rusty headrest. What is this? What are you going to do? Fancy removed Plague's shackles from me. The power of immortality immediately returned to my battered, tormented body, and I felt all of the new bruises and wounds begin to heal. Come on, Lucifer, do what you must. No, this is too much. You volunteered to be her master. The punishment is your responsibility. Shut your mouth, Fancy up. That's funny. Lucifer pushed me into the chair and began to tighten the straps on my wrists, ankles, and around my neck. Damn. When he caught my frightened look, he said in a detached voice, Do you still think I'm on your side? Yes. I still think you're on my side. How much more are you going to toy with me? Until you break. I'm sorry. I'm not ever gonna break. I'm not gonna give all of you that satisfaction. Begin, Lucifer. Lucifer looked straight into my eyes, then turned away as if unable to stand it. What? If you don't, I will. It's better that way. You'll be more efficient. What should I tell Plague? She's going to see my face in her memories. Tell her that my father was right. Lucifer! Lucifer! Like I said, people, he cares too much. I literally said that in the beginning of the episode. Oh my god, I'm in love with this man. He literally can't hurt us. He cares too much about us. And he left the sun. Lucifer, please. Yeah, he literally left because he can't do it. Fancio loomed so close that I could smell his breath. Disgusting. Leave. This will hurt. He took out a knife and slashed my arm. Nice. Then a stone flashed in his fingers. You'd better not look. The uncertainty is so depressing. Are you fucking shitting me? With each word that Fancio spoke, he brought his face closer so that I could see only him. Sir! Personal space! He tightened the strap on my neck so that I couldn't turn my head, and then a sharp pain pierced me. My hand burned so intensely that I almost fainted. No, you have to remember everything. I need to show the horsewoman right. I'm so sorry you were left to rot in non-existence. Same. Me too, believe me. And the hellish torment continued. I managed to endure without making a sound, couldn't stop screaming. Nah. We are a warrior, we're gonna do it without making a sound. We're a warrior. No matter how much he tortured me, no matter how much he mocked me in his strange, perverse way, I didn't scream. I sat quietly, tightly pursing my lips, clenching my teeth, and only silent, uncontrollable tears flowed down my cheeks. You're stronger than I thought. You're even worse than Dino thought you were. Fancio paused for a moment, then proceeded to cut my hand. Did he hate me even after death? Sir, do you even realize what you're doing right now? Were you expecting something else? I laughed and immediately caught, holding back rising sobs. You always try to hurt me by reminding me of Dino. He chuckled, but without malice. And do you know what the most upsetting part is? He brought his face closer again. It always works. Well, sir, if you love your son, why act like this? He stuck something in my arm, pushing it all the way to the bone. I bit my tongue to keep from screaming, and my mouth filled with blood. You're an impulsive idiot who'd kill me in cold blood if given the chance. I even like that you're in pain. We'll see when you end up in my place. It was difficult for me to say anything, but I spat those words right in his face with the last of my strength. Fancio began to whisper something in my ear, some separate, incoherent words, the meaning of which escaped my mind. I was on the verge of fainting, but he continued talking to me, and every word pierced my brain and seemed to remain there forever. But when I tried to understand their essence, the words slipped away, hiding so deep inside my mind that no one could reach them. Soon I lost consciousness, only to wake to a new wave of pain, though not so strong. The strap was gone from around my neck. Through a veil of drowsiness, I saw Fancio holding a knife over my bloodied hand. I removed the shackles so that you could regenerate. When a cut is made in the same place, even immortals cannot suppress the pain. Please. I passed out again. Honestly, what horrible way to live. The white ceiling blinded me. A suffocating, horrible smell filled the air, and cold, stiff sheets irritated my skin. I was lying on an infirmary bed surrounded by other injured, unclaimed, but hidden from their eyes behind a screen. How long have I been here? I stretched in the bed, but groaned from the pain in my arm. A shadow appeared behind the screen. Who's there? The fabric moved and Eliza appeared. What are you doing here? You're not allowed. Shh. Eliza sat on the edge of the bed, took my hand and squeezed it tightly, almost painfully. I don't have much time. Listen and remember. Eliza, She pulled me to her and quickly whispered in my ear, "There is an order of resistance. We haven't given up yet, and we'll never give up. Let's go." Huh? "We'll try to get you out, but for now you have to pretend you're on Blake's side. You have to integrate yourself with her." She spoke quickly, almost breathlessly, not letting me get in a word. "And most importantly, Simona, most importantly, you must cut all ties with my daughter." "But Eliza," she squeezed my fingers tighter, "it's better to let Mimi hate you. Then Blake won't use your feelings against the two of you." "Blake knows that Mimi is dear to you and will use it. Show her that this won't work, that you don't care about Mimi, and then she'll look for other ways to hurt you." Yikes. We are literally, oh god. I don't even know what to say at this point. Like, this is such a horrible way to live. Eliza shook my hands. "Promise me." "I promise." "You mustn't tell anyone or about our conversation. Nobody. Never. Do you understand me?" "Yes." Eliza released me with relief. "Okay. I should ask her while she's here." "What is the order of resistance? Are all of the order members severing ties with their loved ones? Ties with their loved ones? Who else is in the order? Is my mom there? I don't care about her mom." "Are all the order's members severing ties with their loved ones?" Hope stirred in my soul, but Eliza's answer was not the reassurance I wanted. "We don't have a rule about it, if that's what you mean. Circumstances vary." She cautiously looked out the window and whispered, "I have to go. Don't forget your promise." "Eliza," but she'd already disappeared behind the screen. I covered my face with my hands and sighed heavily. This changes everything. If this order exists, then all is not lost. I watched Blake toying with Eliza and Mimi's fate. How weak their love made them. I need to act differently. I need to do everything in my power to gather information and pass it on to this resistance. I have to fight my hardest. I must fashion a new identity for myself. I must give up everything. Ooh! I was overcome by desperate determination. My body trembled with excitement, tears of hope welling in my eyes. All is not lost. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. A nurse soon came to visit and convey with sympathy that I was expected. Adolescent. Blake would be angry if I didn't show up, and she couldn't care less that because of the damn shackles I needed more time to recover. I got up somehow and went out into the yard, where the lesson with Gerald was taking place. He stood in front of the assembled students with his arms folded across his chest. Among those present I saw Mimi. She also noticed me and smiled with relief, waving her hand. I wanted to hug her or smile back, but I forced myself to look away. No. Oh. Today we will train your regeneration skills. Ha ha ha. Why? Does someone still not know how? Christopher out of my face. He grinned at me over his shoulder. Ha ha ha. Very funny. If it should happen that you lose the ability to recover using your powers, you should know how to do it through other means. I looked gratefully at Gerald. He found a discreet way to help me. You know, I think you're overrated. Why bother with shackles if you don't have any strength? I didn't realize that he was addressing me at first. I wasn't expecting Christopher to speak to me. I'm sure the mistress chained me up so that I would know where I belong. And where is that? At the mistress' feet. That. I've decided to be obedient and humble. Where's your brother? Yeah, I'd rather talk with him. At least he does does conversation interesting. He turns them into something interesting. I looked around for Astaroth. A smile played on Christopher's lips, but something elusive in his eyes and gestures was unsettling. He had things to do. Astaroth will return soon. Why are you grinning that maliciously? Listen carefully. If you lose your powers, you should be even more focused on your body. You can't speed up your recovery, but you can slow the spread of infection and dull pain. Immortals are capable of this even in shackles. I met Gerald's gaze. As a matter of practice and focus, for the next half hour, Gerald explained how to transform concentration into energy, capable of drawing a fragment of immortality's power from a nearly empty well. I tried as never before, realizing that it was the only thing I could do, but Plague soon arrived. With her appearance, all the students fell silent and lined up, looking around fearfully. Plague walked by. She looked into everyone's eyes and smiled slyly. She held her favorite drink in her hands. I hate her with a passion. I used to fight with my brother all the time. Oh, he loved it. I think you should practice fighting. I don't want him to be bored. Otherwise, she grabbed the guy closest to her and, clicking her teeth in front of his nose, continued. He'll be in a bad mood. Plague pushed the unfortunate student away, leaving, she said. Practice. Gerald looked ahead vaguely, sadly thinking about something until Christopher called out. So, are we going to fight or what? Can I fight with this bitch, please? Yes, begin. Gerald is not having it either. Everyone began to split off into pairs. Mimi walked towards me, but I pointedly turned away from her. No! Mimi! No! I don't want... No! Now she's gonna feel even more alone. No! Huh? Sorry. Passing me by, Christopher went to stand in front of Mimi. Will you fight me? Why? Now that you're free from your shackles, I'd like to feel your strength. Well, if that's what you're asking for. People, I have the feeling that something's gonna start between these two. Mimi approached Christopher and ran her fingernail along his cheek, then quickly spun and ended up behind him, whispering something in his ear. Christopher staggered, smiled, and muttered something, and then Mimi struck him in the knees, causing him to fall to the ground. She immediately pulled his head back by the hair. She hissed right in his face. Are toys able to do this to their owners? Let's go! His eyes. I think I'm fascinated by you. Aren't we all? Mimi pushed him away. She looked at me and I once again turned away from her. Ignoring Mimi is harder than I thought. She's your best friend. I stayed on the sidelines watching the others without participating. I felt inferior next to them, deprived of my main weapon. Whoop. Doesn't that make us very, very sad? Dino was returning from training. He looked a little out of breath and flushed as he crossed the yard where we were practicing. He stopped, wiping his face with a towel and watching the students' techniques. Next choice can improve your friendship and romantic relationship. He hasn't even visited me since we last saw each other. Does he know what was happening to me? Practice with Dino. Do not approach Dino. This is not only for friendship, only love, so do not approach Dino. No. Besides, I'm mad a little at Dino. He's like, or let's just say he appears to be the nicest one of them. And he didn't even bother to show up when we didn't show up for a while. I stood off to the side, looking around at the training students with some envy until I spotted MALBONTE. Let's go! Oh, let's go. Apparently he had been heading towards Plague. I am so mad. But stopped to watch me. So fucking hot. So fucking hot. I turned away, mentally cursing him for the shame I felt. Damn! Yes, MALBONTE, I'm standing here alone because I can't do anything without your power. I hope you're happy. Damn! Honestly, I don't think he's happy that we don't have any power, because I think he knows what that feels like. Having the feeling that you don't have any power. Because he kind of felt that way when we took part of his power back then after the ritual. He said, I'm not as powerful as I used to be because of you. So he knows what that feels like. So I don't think he's happy about that. I turn around and hurry to my room. Yeah, we're leaving. We're out. The latest events left me exhausted. I got into bed and fell asleep immediately. I woke up after the evening sun had dipped below the horizon. I was awoken by the sound of a slamming door. I got up and looked around the room. Nobody. I laid down again but noticed something on the pillow. What's wrong? A note? Someone left a message next to my head. I took the piece of paper, apparently hastily torn off, and read, The graveyard for the fallen. O.R. Ooh, O.R.? Order of Resistance? As soon as I read it, the note in my hand caught fire, and after a moment flakes of ash fell on the bed. I felt a disorienting rush of emotions. I got up excitedly, crossed the room. Was it Eliza, or did someone else from the school bring this note? There might be other members of the Resistance at the Angels and Demons Academy. There better be. I looked impatiently out the window, then darted back and closed the curtains. But what if this is some kind of setup? The idea of remaining in the room was unthinkable torment. I had to find out who else was fighting against plague, who hadn't given up yet. Slender rows of monuments rose up with the names of the dead carved on them. Many of those whose names were etched in stone had returned from the other world. The humidity and wind made things cold and unpleasant. I couldn't stop trembling and only quickened my pace. The silence was depressing. I constantly looked around, but there was little to see because of the trees. However, this also made it difficult to spot me. I expected to find some figure bending over one of the gravestones, but it seemed that I was alone in the cemetery. My measured steps abruptly stopped when I reached the monument, erected in Sammy's honor. Who knew we'd have to go through so much after he was gone? It's good to have you back, Sammy. The cracking of a branch under someone's feet startled me. I began to look around and hurried towards the noise. But the silence, like morning mist, slowly descended again and spread all around. There was no one. I stopped near a golden plaque engraved with the history of the war as written by the victor. Justice has been served. The monster that wrought evil fell thanks to the courage of the immortals. We honored the memory of those who died fighting for the world in which we now live. How much more suffering awaits us? That's just the beginning, and the death toll will continue to grow. Do the immortals still have the strength to fight? I don't. I still have the strength to fight. How much more suffering awaits us? I looked at the monument once more and noticed a note at its base. I glanced around to see if anyone was watching me before hastily picking it up. Come to this location only when Plague isn't at the school. Tell her that Mammon is in the capital at the Métis bar, O.R. And once more, as soon as I read the message, it burned right in my hands. I slowly wandered back to school as the sky rumbled soothingly above me. The weather had been nasty lately, and the tension of approaching storms could be felt in the air. Was it an omen of something terrible, or was nature raging because of disruptions to the harmony? Who knew? Whatever the reason behind it, nothing good awaited us. I hurried into the school. The courtyard and several sections of the academy were clearly visible from the hallway. I thoughtfully looked into the distance. I don't know who is sending me these notes. What if they set me up? What will happen to Mammon if I go through with this? They've given me hope. Not all is lost. Someone has a plan, and I can help make it happen. Despair is losing its power over you. Let's go. Only, I was overwhelmed with nervous excitement. I don't even know if Eliza has anything to do with this. I sighed and worried my lip. I have to take the risk. There's no other choice. I'm sure Mimi will hate me for this, but to protect her, I'll have to do it, right? A whistling sound came from overhead. A red dot split the sky as it approached and then landed in the courtyard. Plague went somewhere. I nervously shuffled my feet and then rushed to the horsewoman's office. Books were scattered everywhere. They lay on the floor and the table in a disorderly pile in the closet, where once they had been meticulously alphabetized. I didn't know Plague was into literature and history. She stood at the desk, pressing her spread fingers to it as if for balance. Plague looked relaxed. She was unaffected by the journey she had just made. Why are you here? Did Lucifer get tired of playing with you? Plague sat down on the desk and carefully looked at me. That sad fence you showed me, your punishment. Why didn't Lucifer do it himself? What do you think? I came here concerning something else. The door opened and MALBONTE entered. This man is always there. This man is always there. Yes, bitch. I'm still here. He stopped in the doorway when he noticed me, took a quick look at Plague, and walked to her desk. Then he returned to me and looked into my eyes with some inner tension. Why's that? And why did you come? I know where Mammon is. And where is he? In the capital, at a bar called Metis. As soon as I said that, MALBONTE quickly approached me, grabbed my chin, and burst into my consciousness. Sir, what the fuck? You know she's gonna do it as well. So, why don't you immediately melt my brain? I could feel him crushing everything in his path as he searched for something. My legs buckled from pain, but MALBONTE only tightened his grip on my chin. This is a little... Memories flashed before my eyes and his. Plague, the ball, the mission on Earth, my punishment, but nothing about the order of resistance. MALBONTE let me go. What are you doing? I checked but found no trace of lice, nothing that would be useful to us. Plague smiled, got up from the desk and walked over to me. Just look at her. There is no need to be so rough. I'll look for myself. She burst into my head just as painfully. Plague flipped through my memories so roughly that I fell to my knees, unable to endure the torture any longer. Finally, the pain ended and Plague released me. Honestly, this is so horrible. So horrible. So we literally, before she took away that mark we had to block our mind, no one was able to get into our mind and literally make us suffer like that because they couldn't get into our mind. Now everyone can get into our mind, and they're literally gonna melt our brain every single time by doing that. I am done. With a trembling hand, I wiped bloody tears from my face and closed my eyes, trying not to vomit right on their feet. I didn't find anything either. What? How's that possible? Why didn't they see the order's note? Is it because they don't know about it, or because they don't know where to look? I don't think so. No, they should have seen something. Why didn't they? What's the matter, little bird? You seem confused. I hope we didn't melt your brain. She returned to the desk. MALBONTE extended his hand and said in a commanding, icy tone, Get up. No. I had to obey. Why would you choose to be so obedient? Is this how Lucifer's influence affects you? After MALBONTE and Plague stirred up my memories, it was hard to collect my thoughts. I shook my head and said, I want to be on the winning side. You're clearly the winner. Plague smiled, flattered. Of course she would be flattered. That's right, you're right, little bird. Oh, path of insufficient strength. But why would I need such a weak, insignificant loss in my ranks? Do you want to get closer to me so that I'll be gentle with you? She leaned over and whispered, She wants to tell me I don't have much strength. I'm so done. She leaned over and whispered, You're so pathetic. You seem to have forgotten your place. You'll tell me about everything, not because you took my side, but because you have no other choice. Otherwise I'll crush you like a bug. Do you understand me? Answer. Yes, mistress. She leaned back in her chair again. Good. Plague rested her chin on her clasped hands and laughed. Still, it's wonderful that you came to me, little bird.
I'm glad that we became friends, especially now that my brother has arrived. I'm sorry? War, I know you there. Come in already. War? Huh? I turned around in horror. I'm sorry. War? What is this? What is this? Of course. I am so done. I'm sorry, stop. Temper. We have 9 strength, and she wants to tell me that that's not enough. No matter. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, that was chapter 5. And I'm actually a little disappointed that we couldn't have a moment with Malbonte, but alright. We learned a little about Lucifer's past, and I am so sad. I feel so bad for him. But yeah, that was it for today, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.